Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum. A good day. Bonjour, okay. Everyone, panelists, Datuk, Encik Ramli. I think um, I'm a bit disoriented because I would have thought this will be kicked off by our international president. Without further ado, I'm sure we have plenty of questions that will be fielded to the fellow panelists. I'm sure they are also excited. They can't wait now to share their experiences with regard to last mile logistics, not just here locally in Malaysia, but globally. But again, with due respect and with great respect, I like now to call upon the international president, TS Dr. Abdul Razak Malik, to give his welcome remarks. All yours, Dr. Razak.
Thank you very much, Prof. Khairuddin. Assalamualaikum and a very good morning to ladies and gentlemen. TS Haji Ramli Amir, President CILT Malaysia. Where's Prof. Mujahid? It's not around. Prof. Khairuddin Sudarmin, Chairman of CILT Examination Board. Come moderator the webinar to the next gen advisor. He has got a long list of things to do every day. CLTM council members, probably represented by Faiz this morning. Respected panelists, AB Asli, Grab country manager. Brian Yo, Aramex, country manager, and Zamri Rahman, GM Altus Freight. Ladies and gentlemen. Now, I would like to welcome you to the webinar organized by Next Generation CILT Malaysia. I feel very fortunate that we have the opportunity to be able to meet again on web meeting, although the COVID pandemic is getting serious, hitting all parts of the world. I also want to take this opportunity to say thank you to Prof. Datuk TS Dr. Jahid, the Chairman of Next Generation of CILT Malaysia, and his who continuously aspire to keep events like making information sharing as the key agenda. Allow me to talk on CILT going forward. Our institute was founded in 1919 with a mission to improve industry practices and nurture talent. We are 101 years now. CILT, after successfully serving the industry for the last 100 years, we need to be relevant for the next century. And early this year, I had lined up my 5 focus areas during my term as international president. They are as below. Inclusivity and care every member. CILT member countries to participate actively in supporting the mission and vision of CILT International by creating open platform and communication by means of video conferencing, internet TV and YouTube. It is about sharing and caring, and this is what we are doing today. Green agenda, a responsibility and privileged role to play, creating a friendly environment for the future of our planet and generation. Thirdly, is about uncharted territories. In the spirit of Stronger Together, we are exploring the uncharted territories, expanding CILT into the Francophone countries, Arabs, Russian, Europe, Japanese, and Latin. What we have done for the our women in logistics and transport, for instance, we had inducted Bangladesh, we have inducted Madagascar, Egypt, and the last was Turkey, and Fiji is coming on board, and we will uh, territories. This is about exploring the possibility of not neglecting. No, it's coming back. Oh my God.
Okay, okay.
Listen to me, is it?
Yeah,
I was just,
picking up a
then,
bit.
okay, all right. Uh, just signal to me if you start not hearing me. This is yeah. Yeah.
Will do, will do.
Okay, next will be best crisis. In view of the present challenges, CLT believes strict adhering to best practices in managing the crisis and disaster, adapting at the quickest time the new normal and the new reality as a way forward. Special thanks to our COVID-19 impact survey. Last but not least is digitization industry 4.0. My focus will touch on the key mission of the Institute to provide accessible and high quality, embracing digitalization and industry revolution 4.0 in education globally. I believe and you believe, and I hope you all agree that these are the essence of the new institute in the new era if you want to be relevant for the next century. Now, as we look at this year and the impact of COVID-19, CILT International has geared our strength to realize the 5 focus areas and has shown positive development. I thank all of you who have done your part in it. I hope next generation globally, regions, and national to step up effort for our own future success. Ladies and gentlemen, the subject of our key discussion this morning is about the last mile logistic activities in Malaysia in particular. Last mile logistic is a term used to describe the transfer of goods from a transport hub to a final destination in supply chain management and transport planning. Some of the last mile issues, including cost saving, transparency, improved productivity, and infrastructure enhancement. Simply put, last mile delivery is to transfer the goods to their final destination from a transit hub or warehouse. The final delivery stage in the last mile of the process, the end of the delivery process. Besides being a crucial factor for customer satisfaction, the last miles are the costliest and time-consuming aspect of the shipping process. The purpose of the last mile distribution is as soon as possible while reducing the expense of the business. However, the last miles are not necessary just because the bulk of the distribution expense is accountable. The last mile is important because it affects the range of things: customer loyalty, time and cost of delivery, and ease of operation. It also affects companies in general. The final leg of the shipment includes several with minor drops. Delivery points along the single path may be many miles apart in rural areas. With the increase in e-commerce in Malaysia, has further compounded the cost and inefficiencies in Malaysia, as well as consumer expectations for free delivery has risen significantly. Last miles of logistic technology solution. The growth of the big business already makes many consumers aware of the concept of crowdsourcing local services through digital platforms such as Uber, Airbnb, and Postmates. Local crowdsourcing enables customers to open a mobile app for a trip, make reservation, hire a handy to set out a TV, send flowers to the special individuals, or even arrange a snap for people to arrive at the door of their apartment. Are you listening to me?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Dato'.
Oh my God! You know the bandwidth is
That
really
was a
killing me.
very
Okay.
that was a
Now,
very
okay, the retailers always want Okay.
ah,
The retailers always want multi-source technology to mitigate their non-professional couriers using their own transportation directly to make deliveries. The right to make deliveries on request and on time also means that consumers can be at home when delivery is made. As the convergence and automation of industry wide in increasingly improved distribution robots, drones, and self-driving vehicles are likely to begin in the not so distant future to trigger many such drop-off. Ladies and gentlemen, with that, I want to hand over the session back to our respectful moderator, Professor Khairuddin Bai, to continue his session. Best of luck, brother. Thank you very much and enjoy the session. Stay safe, stay healthy, stronger together. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you.
Thank you very much, TS, Dato' Prof. Dato' Razak Malik, the CILT International President, my good friend, very long time friend. We were together at KTMB. So, okay, all those stories aside. Again, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank Yang Berbahagia, Dato' Razak Malik, the International President, for eloquently and elusively, and very clearly going through the definition of what last mile is. And he has described just now, if you have been listening carefully, the practices, the past, the present, and he even mentioned drones. So he has given a beautiful overview, which saves me the trouble of doing all that. And anyway, I'm worried because I have a tendency, because I also talk a lot, And here I need to remind myself that I'm just moderating, and you guys, Brian, Airmax, Abby of Grab, and Zamri of Altus Freight. They are the ones who are going to be short with questions from me. But don't worry, they have already been pre-warned. so no surprises. Because normally at sessions like this, I always like to give, what do you call it, questions, like surprise questions. I remember at one cybersecurity session, I asked some questions. You can see the panelists, like, muka merah, biru hijau, they were like, oh my God. So don't worry, guys. I won't do that with you today. With permission, Dr. Razak and Tuan Haji Ramli, the President of CILT Malaysia, I will shoot off the first one. Let's see who is going to be my first target this morning. Okay. I think I will give Grab, because when you talk about the last mile today, that the thing that goes is very close to the hearts of customers, consumers like you and I, including me, is Grab. So I will ask Grab the first question. Mana tadi? Bro Abby. Bro Abby, are you macam apa ni, Zamri? Are you Gen X or Gen or Millennial?
Gen X.
Oh, Gen
I
X.
look. I'm actually quite old, even though I look young. Publicly.
Okay. All right. Don't worry, I'll come back to that, because just now today we had an interesting chat dengan Zamri tu. I will in between. I'll come back to the Gen X. Okay. Now, with regards to Grab and with regard to the last mile, how do you, and can you just quickly, in maybe in 5 minutes, share with us Grab's background, and then how is it that you have become a global player?
Thank you, Prof. I'll try to be quick on the introduction and some explanation on what we've done so far. Yeah. So Grab started in Segambut about 8 years back, 2012, and I think we've grown since then. We started off as an e-hailing operator. We tried to solve a problem, a taxi problem, and that was the vision then. It was a social innovation vision, and I think they've grown to cover not just transport, but to cover food, finance, delivery, loyalty programs, and insurance. And since then, we've had about 20 million downloads of the app, about 120,000 drivers and riders, 100,000 drivers, four-wheel drivers, and 20,000 riders. Wow. Riding on the two-wheel motorcycles too. Our coverage is now around 50 cities in Malaysia, and it's expanding. And we have actually supported the economy to the extent of about 3 billion in 2019 alone, and maybe this year even more because of the COVID situation. And of course, with COVID in March, it actually impacted us badly from the transport perspective. We had to adapt and be agile, where we have to our drivers were affected in March. They lost 90% of their revenue, and we had to move them to the delivery side on the logistics side to support our food and mart business. And because of that, the demand has slowly increased due to the CMCO and the recovery MCO. But we are looking now at driving digitalization and digital inclusion for Malaysia. We have partnered with several state governments and federal agencies to actually introduce new types of innovation like cloud kitchens and cloud pasar, where we put the traditional pasar and the traditional bazaars into the platform, and we have seen some benefit from it.
Yeah, what you just mentioned, is it that it is Grab's contribution to the digitalization or the B40s, yeah, and also to generate income for them? Is it that?
Yes, yeah.
Correct.
Yeah. So one good example in March, when we launched, we actually started small on the pasar side, where we digitalized the pasar Taman Tun. I'm sure most of you are familiar with the pasar TTI, and then we use that pilot program to actually offer it to both the FT Ministry and the Selangor government. And the Selangor government actually embarked on a large scale cloud pasar project. We call it e-pasar by Grab, and it covered about 7 pasars, about 100 plus merchants. And because the Ramadan was coming, they immediately asked us to look at how do we digitize bazar Ramadan. More than 100,000 B40 merchants were affected. They couldn't sell their products and food during the Ramadan season. So we launched e-Bazaar Ramadan with the Selangor state government, and maybe I think in Penang too, some parts of Penang, and it actually resulted in a big impact to the B40 operators. Most of them are the older generation yang tak pernah ada digital punya exposure. So we had to onboard them slowly. Those yang earning about 1,000 a day, now they can see that they can get 2,000 to 3,000 a day. They got excited and asked to be onboarded into the Grab food mart. And the impact is not just for Grab, but also for other players like Food Panda and the other delivery platforms as well. They can see the benefit of adopting these digital platforms. So we are embarking on a wide scale expansion next year. We are looking at introducing more these Grab kitchens and Grab Pasar through our partnership with the state government. So the idea here is to push for more digital inclusion with the B40 for the merchants and also for the drivers and other way. We also expand on creating more job and income generation for this category as well.
Okay, wonderful. So what you just shared with us, the measures that you're taking, okay, for your drivers and the passengers. But the interesting part which I like is also the part that what you're doing, you are also upskilling your drivers, okay, and riders, okay, to fit in with the current gig economy. Yeah, wonderful, excellent work that Grab is doing. Don't you think so, Damri? But to Brian?
Oh, yeah, it is.
You know why wait, okay, now you know why I mentioned them? Because you are my next target.
I'm ready. Yeah, pull the trigger, please.
Okay, now, that's interesting. Grab has given an overview of what they're doing, with regard to addressing immediately what Dr. Razak has described about what last mile is. But now, of course, you were in the, you were told me that you were with FedEx, and Brian too was with FedEx. You were colleagues, right? Okay, yeah. And then that now that you are also in the airline industry in a way. Am I right?
Yeah, FedEx is an airline industry, and at the same time, they are also a courier company. Okay. I mean, they are the biggest in the world. I would suggest that is their position right now.
Okay, I'm going to ask you. Zooming in into more strategic questions, more into the things that you do. Okay, now during these times of pandemics, how do you ensure the health and safety of your delivery drivers? And then how do you balance supply and demand during times of sudden spike in delivery? Okay. bagi you the first two question dulu. Zamri?
As far, okay, thank you, Prof. As far as Altus is concerned, yeah, we are actually a freight company, but we do last mile as well. Being part of the one of the player in the market for e-commerce, what we actually did is that we actually follow the SOP and binding requirement by the government. So we supply with our riders. We have 400 riders nationwide. We supply them with the what they call that, the sanitize. We actually have all those safety equipments to be with them on road. In terms of demand, we are always ready with demand increase, because every stations that we have, we always create buffer.
Okay. Zamri, sorry. Actually, I'm looking at Brian. Sorry, that question was supposed to be meant for Brian.
I'm very happy to let Zamri go on. You know, Zamri, please go on. I'll come in.
Abby is smiling. Okay. Okay. No, sorry. I'm going to put you on the spot. But again, in that direction, I just wanted to ask you, because I got confused just now between Aeromax and Zamri on my notes here. Now, my question is to you, what is the best sales strategy in all market, especially in airline industry during the pandemic? Because I remember that you were getting this now, you are in the airline, so I got confused between you and Brian. My apologies. Go ahead, Zamri.
Does our face looks alike?
Go ahead.
Okay, Prof. Okay, I think I would describe year 2019 as a year of challenge. And change were actually more to come in the year of 2020.
Right.
So certainly, especially when the emergence of COVID-19. So I had this discussed with my team, the challenges and embracing opportunity that happened last year. And I think we encountered two enormous consequential development, which I think one is the trade dispute that began in 2018, in 2018, and actually accelerated in 2019. And at the same time, we are looking at a strategic decision where we actually position Altus as one of the dominant e-commerce player and strategically time aircraft. So when I talk about COVID-19 pandemic, we were actually hit COVID in the month of March in China, and it started in China, where actually we took Herculean steps to protect the safety of our team member. So as you know that the virus spread throughout the global, so the safety of our team and customers remain our absolute top priority. So I think since that it is actually a global badly affected, so a lot of restrictions been imposed. Airline players also got to adjust to their network and maximizing capacity and utilization. So that is got to be done on time, daily basis. So I think airline got to be fearless as well in terms of their ability to move aircraft around the world to match the capacity to demand. So as just one example, when you know the e-commerce are growing and to keep them moving despite challenges, in early March, most of the passenger plane belly capacity was severely constrained. So a freighter got to fly in, and this is where the opportunity lies. So I think in terms of aircraft, COVID-19 gives a lot of opportunities where, you know, at times I remember that a lot of freighters are moving a lot of personal protective equipment, PPE. Roughly, I think the figures not more or less 36 kilo tonnage. And we're talking about 1.912 billions of masks. So I think every players, every airline that in the industry should, I believe, quickly ramp up their operation to manage the peak like the e-commerce volume to support the demand. Customers as they stay home and shop online is to support the social distancing. I think that is my thought about it.
Yeah, so that means indirectly, in a sense, what you're trying to allude is that in this what you call with this new normal in this pandemic times, the management of freight in delivering revenue is strategically of utmost important. Am I right?
Correct. Yes, you're absolutely right, Ross.
Okay, there's one last question before I move to. I know Brian can't wait for me to ask him questions. Okay, Now, how do you manage communication with your team, the logistic and transport team during this pandemic?
I believe,
would like to share with the audience?
Yeah, I believe the communications that we have, I mean, one of it is, I mean, to my opinion, I feel this is one of the platform that can be used to get everybody updated. You got to engage with a lot of
a lot of Zoom meetings like this.
Correct, Zoom meeting. You got to have a lot of sharing experience through WhatsApp and your network. So I think in airline industries, there are a platform that actually we talk about issues and what are the initiatives that we need to take. So I think that is practically my opinion about how to actually keep up with the communication with the rest of the other players in the market.
Thank you, Cik Zamri, GM Altus Freight, for your very important, interesting, and real, industry experience and what you guys do. Okay, and I'm sure there are a lot of students, MBA students, who are also watching this. This will be useful, especially the logistics students. Okay. Now I move on to Mr. Brian. What happened to Mr. Brian?
I'm here, Prof.
Oh, okay, good. Okay, now. I just would like to get your view. Can digitalization replace humans effectively in delivery service? What is your biggest challenge in your view?
Sure. Very interesting question, and it's something that is very close to my heart. Technology has always been the forefront in everything that we do in Aeromax. We are always staying relevant, staying invested when it comes to technology. Now, before I get into the details of what we do in some of the areas of digitalization, just want to give it in context that logistics companies, courier companies, whatever you name it, express companies, right? Gone are the days where we are labeled as a company that carries a package from point A to point B.
Right.
Yes, these are fundamentals, I have to say, yes, but what can we do more, right? What can we do more to lift ourselves up to the next level, 10x our efficiency and productivity? So technology is a key thing. Believe it or not, many customers whom would like to engage with companies like us wants to see how invested are we in technology. So we cannot run away from R&D. We cannot run away from introducing new ways of doing business when it comes to a traditional business like courier delivery. Yes. So digitalization is important. You use the word replacing humans. I think it will not replace humans today or even in the next 20, 30 years. But what I can say that it will help and facilitate humans in dealing with logistics and courier. One of the few things that we do a lot right now is helping in facilitating our deliveries. For example, in terms of address delivery. In case, of course, Malaysia has got very good postal code system, but when you have countries, say in the Middle East, for example, and the address system is just not up to mark. In countries like Africa, third world countries, for that matter, address systems are not detailed as what we have today. It can be an address like on a third palm tree, make a left turn and you see a red roof on a house and make that delivery into the second house next to it. This is the type of delivery instruction we get. But for us in Aeromax, we have a technology that is called what 3 words. So what 3 words actually is geotagging 3 words to categorize a particular spot in a 3 meter by 3 meter by 3 meter.
Okay.
That particular spot can actually be tagged to where this particular person is. You can be even on the street and Aeromax can even go there to deliver it. So what 3 words is not just applied by Aeromax, but today in the automotive world, people like the Mercedes, BMW are also applying this into their GPS system for what 3 words. So it's just a simple 3 words tagging, right? we have the technology to assist them. Now, fast forward a little bit further, and we see that today, when you say digitalization, many people will talk about drone deliveries. I know Dr. Razak touched upon that earlier in his opening remark. Now, something very interesting, drone deliveries, or rather the UAV, unmanned aerial vehicle, right? Will it replace human delivery? We ourselves are in the stage of testing, right? In UAV, we're in a stage of testing. I would not discount the fact that it will be a reality for common goods in time to come. But today, drone delivery is predominantly more relevant to certain areas like life sciences delivery in hard to reach places like ship spares, medical aids, and also into emergencies delivery. These are just the last mile delivery that uses UAV or drone. Now, what are the challenges in drone deliveries? Of course, there are two things that I like to categorize when it comes to drone deliveries. Firstly, would be the capability of this particular vehicle. Capability in a sense that are they able to reach a certain distance? Are they able to continue to fly after a certain time? Right, so we call it range. So the range capability is one. Today we're talking about 6 kilometers to 7 kilometers delivery for a drone. How is this going to replace 100% of human? Not so yet at this moment, because it has to be monitored and it has to be assisted as, for just a last mile delivery purpose for up to 7 kilometers.
Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
But for the second thing is regulatory issues. So regulatory issues is a very sticky thing. I can see Abhi nodding because Grab also has got their regulatory issues. So you can imagine that how drone can be a very tricky thing. While it's important, but certain regulatory issues when it comes to implementing it can be tricky. Safety also is important because it can be it can influence, and also it can play a very detrimental part for airliners as well.
You mentioned interesting. Brian, you mentioned about safety, and also earlier on you started off by saying that yes, the need for humans will be there for at least another 20 to 30 years, even though we have drones. Fine. Now, how do you, during these pandemic times, how do you ensure health and safety of your delivery drivers? Maybe you want to say yes.
Great. So it is something that we do not compromise at all. Zero compromise when it comes to safety during this time, because we are looking from the health standpoint. Yes, so I'm assuming we're talking about the health standpoint, and we particularly here in Malaysia, Aeromax Malaysia, I can be very honest with you. It was a very scary. Let me just share with you. I don't mind sharing with you my experience. I for some reason had an instinct to conduct 100% check swab test for all staff in Aeromax Malaysia. For some reason, that was two months back, and the result that came out after 3 days. It was out of 150 tests, and the doctor was updating us from time to time, right to the last person. So which means that about 99.9% was negative, right to the last person, and that guy came out to be positive, right? COVID-19 positive. So what's next, right? So what's next is, I mean, we have to be prepared. We have to be prepared. For instances like this, we have to have a second warehouse. We have to have a backup plan to operate. And because of the warehouse needs to be closed in a very short period of time, if you are quick enough, in next 3 days, you're back operating as usual, as long as PM approves it. So
since you have that subject, how do you balance the supply and demand?
Correct. So coming back to that was a very important eye opener for us. That makes us to tell everybody that SOP is so important, right? Today we are doing sanitization on a monthly basis in our facilities. That we will not compromise on that. Now, supply and demand, because it can affect, right? Suddenly, we are affected by this situation, and then we are lack of drivers. So for us as a last mile courier delivery company, we cannot be doing this alone. I say this time and time again, even before COVID-19, this industry is a very demanding industry. And to do this alone is very impossible, right? So we collaborate. And I always believe that collaboration is key to everything. I mean, we cannot be doing business all by ourselves. Zamri, for that matter, we have discussed many times. In fact, we are still in a current discussion. Today, we might be going into something together to cover pockets of areas where Aramex do not cover, right? And we collaborate. So to address a spike in demand, for example, we also have a technology on-demand technology to recruit freelancers, to recruit crowdsourced drivers. We have that as well. And we cannot not do that, right? It's a Grab type of technology that we adopted from Aramex in our own Aramex technology app that we recruit. So we have to do that, right, to make sure that we are always ready.
Thank you, Brian. That was a very interesting sharing. Very excellent. So now that you mentioned the word collaboration, maybe now I'd like to get the views of Damri and Eddie. Now,
can I add to what Brian has commented on the regulatory? I think I think regulatory is a major issue here, especially with the rise of COVID, the situation in the last 1 year or so.
Right.
It's important for us to actually, or for the government actually to actually have an open mind when it comes to the introduction of new regulations.
Right.
I think this infection has actually shown that there are many loopholes and improvements that can be done on the regulatory side. Yeah. Yeah, so the old way of government knows best, they just do the law, draft the law, and then impose it. Everybody doesn't work anymore.
Right.
But the situation now is different. I think in some of the, the government has the tools to actually try to resolve this in the form of the sandbox that was announced by the Ministry of Science and Technology, MOSTI, the National Technology Innovation Sandbox.
Right.
And when it comes to regulatory, new law is one thing. I'm sure even on the logistics side, parcel delivery, I think MCMC is looking to review their postal laws on the logistics side, right? Which also will impact on Grab on the delivery side. And they have embarked on some measures where they have done their lab. They want to actually look at the possibility of working together with MOT on this, because MOT also have some governance over the logistics aspect. But the problem is that I think certain government agencies may need to be more open-minded or more open to working with the industry, whether it's in the form of working through a design thinking workshop, or maybe to test the new law in a sandbox environment, in a safe zone. If it's on port, maybe it can be done in one port, any port in Malaysia, or if it's on the delivery side, in a safe area, a town like Sabajaya, for example, which is already doing the drone testing. So these are the things that we may need to push. I mean, maybe CILT can actually push it to the government from an advocacy perspective. And to be honest, what Brian mentioned earlier on using the Grab, it's not really Grab practice, but it's actually the gig platform, using all these freelancers to actually be your delivery riders. I mean, it's not owned by Grab fully, of course. It's actually a collaborative effort. We can work together to build this platform. And we heard that there might be new laws that will be introduced by the government on gig. So the definition of gig is very important. For us, our 120,000 drivers and riders, they are not our workers. They are actually our driver partners. And because of that, it's very difficult for, we can actually support them to a certain extent when it comes to the social net and whatnot, but the government also must provide the necessary support through SOCSO or EPF, and the definition must be developed together by both sides, not just from one side imposed on the others. And this will eventually impact on all the operators, even to Aramex or Altus, if you were to go on this path. So this is something that we need to ponder and explore, and maybe advocate later. Yeah.
Thank you for the suggestion. Very deep and very relevant in today's time, because what I wanted to say just now when we were talking about collaboration. So because it reminds me of that word. In those days we were only talking about competition. We're always competitive. I have my secrets here, secrets. So now we don't work together. But no, times have changed. Things have changed. People collaborate, and that's another word, an old word actually. Dulu we say competition. Now we say competition. I can compete with you, but at the same time, I can still cooperate with you. I think that's what Brian, that you were alluding, and that's what you also were trying to say. But I like your design thinking framework when you mentioned about design thinking. So I guess you must be reading a lot about design thinking. Okay, Cik Zamri, any input from you? Because I'm okay. We start from the three learned professionals in the industry and sharing real life industry experiences, experiences of what is going on, not just in Malaysia but globally. And as Dato' Razak has beautifully defined, in the framework what last mile is all about. So, Zamri, anything that you want to comment about what Brian did, because you were colleagues? And
I wanted to actually add to what Brian has mentioned, collaboration. It's actually a nice word for a small player in the market that try to be in the e-commerce, because I think part of it, like Altus, even though we are freight companies, we also do last mile. And just for everybody knowledge that we are actually one of the appointed agent for National Post, that we do deliveries for them. So Post Laju. So
Post Laju, okay.
So as far as a courier company is concerned, I mean, we talked about many years back, they are very much look at their branding. They have to look at the overall cost to actually perform first or last mile. So I think with this COVID-19, it helps a lot in terms of reducing costs by engaging a partner, so-called collaborate with a small partner to actually perform the last mile of delivery part of it, instead of doing the whole set of it. So they collaborate with the small players to actually help them to grow or to deliver to the end client. So I think this is the best part. When Altus started over a business as a last mile company, the services, we actually offered the same thing. It actually helps the company, the bigger player, the big boys, to save certain costs, because COVID-19 affected a lot of people, a lot of businesses. So they can't afford to pay anymore. So they are actually trying to pull the legs and try to get a not to say cheap price, but it actually close to reducing margin. So when this happen, so the bigger boys will not be able to support. So they have to actually look at alternatives. So this come into a picture where small players will be able to help them to actually maintain the profitability and to maintain the cost effectiveness of their operation. So that is why we are having a lot of discussion with, especially Brian and the rest of the other players. Yeah.
I think I missed one question, Brian, for you.
Go ahead.
Okay, during this new norm, what is the percentage lead time in time increase as far as the goods delivery last mile is concerned? The lead time increase.
Okay. Actually, the lead time for delivery, the delivery last mile here is mainly contributed by during MCO, during our MCO period.
Okay, all right.
When there are blockages, there are roadblocks. So that is the only concern that we as a logistics provider or courier provider was facing. Now today we don't face that as a way to, because whatever that comes in is just on forward, out for delivery, quite easy, quite simple, straightforward. Now, but what I have to say, the increase, because we do a lot of international business, cross-border.
Right.
The delay is mainly coming from line haul.
Line haul, yeah.
Line haul, yes. So Zamri touched upon airlines, how they are maximizing their capacity, how they are rearranging their schedules. Now, I would like to add that these airlines today is really wreaking havoc in companies like us. We're not sure about the cost. We're not sure about the cost. We're not sure about the schedule. We're not sure whether they'll be flying. We're not sure about the space. Okay. Right? We're paying premium, but yet we're not getting space. We're getting bumped off.
That's go bumped off. Yeah, that's normal.
Yeah. Very normal. It was very normal.
Okay.
So that is the biggest challenge for us. So lead time for us, Prof, not an issue when it comes to final mile delivery, but it's the first and the mid mile that is contributing those uncertainties. So there might be some issues there that we need to fix. I hope that moving forward, airlines will start. I don't blame the airlines, honestly, right? They need to re-strategize things, and because things are so fluid, you're not sure what's going to happen today. Singapore, Hong Kong was talking about a travel bubble, didn't happen, right? On the 11th hour, that didn't happen. So we don't know, and let's see how it goes for next year.
Okay, can we, because I'm just, while you're describing, right, I'm reading the question and answers here, and what do you call the chat. Maybe I think maybe you already in a nutshell describe the thing that Grab has done and what you will be doing. But there's a question here. What was it? Okay, there's a question here. Grab done on the demand as Grab is doing doing the last mile logistic. May I know what are the challenges faced by Grab? Maybe you want to respond.
I think I've mentioned one of it earlier.
The regulatory. Okay, you mentioned that.
Regulatory side. Yeah, that is a major thing because we are in the process of trying to onboard as many merchants and drivers and riders, especially during the COVID situation. We have seen an increase in the demand to become our drivers and riders because a lot of people lost their jobs. The data that we receive right now is we are averaging around 6,000 applications to be drivers and riders every month. Wow. And in order to actually facilitate this, we need to make sure that our onboarding process, especially with the regulators like JPJ and APAT, need to move fast and efficient so that we can actually get them on the system faster. As you know, the e-hailing industry has been regulated under MOT. The delivery side has not, but the government is in the process of introducing the P-hailing system. And from our experience before, when they did the e-hailing, actually before the e-hailing laws were introduced, we had about 200,000 drivers in the system throughout the country, and this number dropped drastically. Well, basically, we make sure, in a way, you can look at it from a positive perspective. We have the best drivers now because of the training and the regulation that ensure that they are well trained in becoming our drivers. But if this were to happen now, especially on the delivery side, where the business is actually booming, it will impact on our capability to actually provide a better service if the numbers drop drastically because of the introduction of e-hailing. So this is some of the things that we try to advocate to the relevant authorities, that perhaps it would be good to actually work together to actually roll out these laws to ensure that the industry is not affected badly by this. And it's not just us, but everybody that is trying to take a step into this parcel delivery technology business. Yeah.
Okay, thanks, Abby. Okay, that's another general question here. Maybe each one of you may like to respond. This is from Shafina, I think her name. She asked, does COVID-19 affect the logistic and transportation industry?
I'll take that. Let me take that, Prof. Look, listen. It does affect everyone. Doesn't matter what industry we're in. The question really is, do you know what to do next? Do you know what to do next? Right now, it's very important that you should know what to do next. Right here is what you should be doing. Are you prepared in case you have one positive case? Are you prepared to have a second warehouse? Are you prepared to have backup? Are you prepared to have business continuity plan? That's the word. Now, a lot of anxiety, a lot of business people that comes to me and talk to me say, look, I'm so afraid. I'm so afraid that, you know, one person will get COVID-19 and I don't know what to do next. That's because you are not ready. Now, if you are ready and you know that the time, the turnaround, if I told you that I turn around in 3 days, would you believe me? It is true. Friday, I shut down. Monday, I was back to work. Why? Because I was in touch with doctors. I was in touch with KKM, making sure everything, every step of the way was known to me, even before the results came out to me. I was preparing. Now, businesses should be prepared too, right? At the right time, even at choosing the right day to do this test was important to me. I had one day in that week of public holiday. It was our Muharram's birthday.
Oh, okay.
The holiday. I took advantage of it. So really, it's all about planning, right? And if you do plan nicely, your business will have the least interruption possible. Now this is a new norm. Yes, it's a new norm. Shopping malls closed for 2 weeks. What are we going to do about it? We have to do something. We need to be prepared. That's the most important thing.
Thank you, Brian. Damri, what's your take on that?
Ever since that COVID-19 attacked us, I think for Altus, we have been running it since day one. We never had any shutdown. That's because we are very much touched with the KKM personnel and also adhere to the SOP which has been given because we are part of the essential services. So as far as Altus is concerned, there's no issue. So we have no issue on that. We keep on moving. But in terms of SOP, we still adhere to it.
Thank you. Sorry, Damri. Ebi, do you have any comments?
Oh, definitely it impacted us. So like I mentioned earlier, we had to move 100,000 drivers into the delivery side because the transport side were reduced by about 90%, but the delivery side went up by 200%. So most of them were actually doing that's why you get all these cars sending you food or stuff that you ordered from the app. But the most important thing when faced with such a disaster or crisis is that you need to be agile. You need to be able to actually move your business or do the necessary, the hard risks and decisions in a fast way. For example, during the early days of the MCO, the government was announcing different SOPs every 2-3 weeks, or even in some cases in days. So we need to make sure that we are ready to actually change to that change of SOP. One city might be operational, the next day it might be closed. The operation time might change from 7 to 10 to 7 to 8. So these little things actually has a lot of impact to everybody, not just Grab. So we need to make sure that our entire system is able to move at a fast way to actually adapt to these changes. Right. And of course, we need to be practical and make the hard decisions. Sometimes, even though the government may have opened up the economy, but and allowed for better allow us to actually transport more people, but we still decided to actually stick to 2 people in 1 car at this point because of the safety issues. We actually discussed with our drivers. We got the feedback that the drivers are still not very comfortable of having a full load of people inside the e-hailing vehicles. So we still stick to 2 at this point. So you need to make that decision, even though it will still impact on the business as a whole. So yeah, the most important thing is to make sure that the decisions are sensible and you need to be agile in actually implementing it.
Yeah, I'd like to add on to what Abby is saying, Prof. Just give me a minute. So you see, even businesses like us, like you say, making hard decisions, it can be impacting us, but it's also a concern for safety. For example, we do delivery in places, and we provide COD service, right? Cash on delivery. Now, upon COVID, what do we do? All right, concerns of cash transfer is really an issue. So we decided to just stop COD, contactless delivery. May not be the best solution for business. It will be impacting us, but we are responsible. We have to be responsible to the society, making sure that the safety is always there for everybody. So these are some of the hard decisions that we have to make.
You mentioned the magic word just now, Brian. Impact. Because there's one question here from Nur Afrika. This is what she said.
Can I chip in?
Yeah, okay. Before can we? Let me read the question and then you can come in. The question is panic buying impact airlines, transportation, or any part in logistics? Maybe while Dato is saying, the 3 panelists can think about it. Dato, yes, go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to respond it generally as in my opening speech. You see, in Chinese character, crisis has got 2 characters. One is risk, danger. The other one is opportunity. So when you have this question, whether COVID-19 affect, yes, it affect, but you have to manage it properly. That is why I said managing best practices. That's why I requested all CILTs all over the world to come out with local research and come out with best practices so that we can share to each other.
And balance the 2. Yeah.
Yes, nothing like having what you call a research at the time when you yourself are facing the pandemic.
You
suffer from it. Yeah, that's right. Anything after vaccine, and it is no more, shall I say, that pandemic, and you start doing research, it's purely academic. But now it is purely facing the problem, and you can feel it, and you are doing it. That is why I said thank you, for those who are responded on the local research, because during crisis, during crisis, best practices. But because we have another character that says that it is opportunity, the new normal is the opportunity, and at quickest time, if you adapt to it, that is where our future success is. So and of course, technology is one of them and all that. And today itself, it becomes so accessible. Do you know that for 4 years I was the international president-elect? I'm having this, and now even I think some of you has already experienced. We were talking to London here from Shah Alam just by using teleconference. You don't even see the face. Why they are not using Skype at that time? After all, Skype was there. But the pandemic accelerated, us, to embrace technology. These are the positive things.
So you were saying that risk and opportunity, right?
Risk and opportunity, or danger and opportunity.
I thought in China, or in Chinese terms, Brian, correct me if I'm wrong, wouldn't that be called the yin and the yang?
Maybe I don't.
Okay,
I'm not expert in feng shui, but sounds logical to me.
Okay. That's another question here by Mama Azamdin. How does your company make your employee engaged during? How do you engage your employees during this lockdown? And that's another third question. Okay, in your perspective, what do you think the issues that will rise in managing logistics?
Let me try and address Nur Afika. Is panic buying impacting airlines, transportation, and any part of logistics? Now, panic buying. So to me, panic buying is maybe it happens locally, domestically, right? In the malls, supermarket, and you see that. For panic buying on e-commerce platform, it's not happening. I don't think it's happening. I think it's more of a habit. I think it's more of a situational scenario thing, that you're stuck at home, you're just bored, or you might just want to say that I want to stay safe and stay home and just shop something. So I won't categorize that as panic buying, but these new habits has certainly helped us in increasing the volumes, increasing the revenue, increasing the demand. There are certainly more movement compared to pre-COVID. And honestly, logistics industry has never thrived as much as before. Today, it has always been so important to connect people in more ways than before today. Yes, so Norafika, that was your answer.
Okay, I'm watching the time again while we are chatting and I'm asking you a question. But I think this is the last question that I'm going to ask the panelists before we wrap up this whole discussion. This is a very interesting question. Okay, so any of you may like to respond to it. In your perspective, this is from an anonymous attendee. Okay, what do you think the issues that will arise in managing logistics of COVID-19 vaccine? As you know, some vaccine needs a -70 degrees kind of thing, storage. So, Zamri, Brian, how do you, and even Abby, any one of you may want to respond to this question? The last mile bit. How do you ensure?
Right.
Fine. Okay.
So listen. So it's a hot topic, right? Vaccine. Everyone's debating it. And we know that based on how it's being moved right now in the US, in UK, and how we observe things are being done over there. Last mile, yes, you need to have specialists, but even regular movers can move those vaccines. Pfizer has given movers such as UPS and FedEx to do it. Now they don't have reefers. They don't have reefers. Let me tell you, they do, but I'm telling you that a 40-footer can still move vaccines.
Okay.
The most important thing is how are the manufacturers conditioning these packages. That's important. And it's a responsibility also on the manufacturer's part to make sure that the test temperature will always maintain in this particular packing or like a tin, you know, then they put in this thermometer and it tracks the thermometer along the way. Typical cold chain, very typical cold chain, but something that is so critical simply because of the scenario that we're facing. This is it, right? So last mile, we are still able to handle it. You know, you don't need to have unbroken cold chain. This is my point. You don't need to have unbroken cold chain. Personally, I think the condition that is set by the manufacturing company will ease a little bit more for the final mile delivery companies to do the distribution.
All right. Thanks, Brian. Zamri, any thoughts from you? Any reaction from you?
I would agree with Brian, but I think when we talk about Pfizer vaccine, they are talking about some degrees to actually ensuring that the vaccine is working. But for those China vaccine, it doesn't actually require. So I'm not sure what are the ingredients of those vaccine. But as Brian mentioned just now, FedEx and UPS, they have their 40-footed trucks running every day, but they do also have some refrigerated trucks that actually connected to make sure that the vaccine degrees is maintained so that it actually works on human being.
Yeah. So even in the deployment of vaccine, right, you can see the fundamental, crucial, critical success factor is still the logistics industry. Am I right?
Yeah,
you're right. I want to add something here also, Prof. I'm not just saying based on observation, but it's because I am also involved right now. Aeromax is involved in a tender to distribute globally 40 countries for China vaccine right now. I'm not in a position to disclose more, but we are in the process of putting in our solution, and we know exactly what are the solutions that are needed. I'm telling you, it's not super complicated. It's certainly doable, and it's doable. It is doable. So no worries to the market whether it arrives you on the efficacy of it will it be affected in between. I'm confident it will not be affected.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, I'm watching the time again here, guys. Guys, you know what I feel? I feel like I'm in a 1 hour real, what they call on the ground MBA classes with you, sharing of industry experience, the real organizational corporate experiences from Aeromax, Brian, from Zamri, Altus Freight, and from Ebi Azli Abdullah from Grab. Thank you very much. I really enjoyed this discussion. And but before I go, before I hand over, before saya jemput Tuan Haji Ramli Amir, our CILT Malaysia President. Remember earlier on I was mentioning about Gen X, Gen Y. Let me just give me a minute to just quickly share with you my anecdote, which my favorite. You know, today we have to deal with so many generations. You know, you have baby boomers like Datuk Razak, okay, and me. And people like us, when someone presents us with something, we'll say, no. We have done it before, it didn't work. So most of us, okay, our thoughts are already cast in stone. Huh? So they know. Okay, then you have the Gen X. I like the Gen X. I think siapa tadi? Eddie mengaku the Gen X. The Gen X ni, I call them the lost generation. You know why I call them the lost generation? Because when they were small, they were told by their parents, hey, boy, you do as I say, but not as I do. So they tell you don't smoke, but outside at the corner there, the floor will be smoking the pipe. Okay, that's the Gen X. This one, the Gen X guys tell me, okay. Then we have the Gen Y. Gen Y interesting. Okay, this is anecdotal and observation. And the Gen Y, you know how they behave? These are fickle-minded people. Today they say they love you, tomorrow they say they hate you, and then next week they say, hey, can we come back together? So they're very difficult, you know. The word is fickle, that's one word. And then you have the millennial, the Gen Z. I have one word for them. Brutal. Careful, okay? The ones who are 19 to 26, you know, the Gen Z. These ones, the boys and the girls, I give you a simple example. If the what do you call millennial or the Gen Z girl, okay, sends the boyfriend a text message, okay, she will give him only 15 minutes. If the WhatsApp is not responded in 15 minutes, she will block him. Okay, that's it. Okay, now without further ado, okay, in the interest of time, okay, I'd like to invite Tuan Haji Ramli to give the closing remarks for today's webinar. Tuan Haji, all yours.
Thank you, Prof. Khairudin. As usual, or rather, forever the immaculate moderator. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a very good afternoon now, I think, to everyone. And to Professor Dato' T.S. Dr. Ahmad Mujahid and, and his next generation team, a big thank you for the splendid effort in coming up with this webinar. But foremost, a great appreciation to our wonderful panelists here today in Abby, Brian, and Zamri for a very illuminating thoughts shared. And of course, to you too, fellow participants, thank you for being with the Chartered Institute of Logistics and Transport of Malaysia. Before wrapping up, I would like, it triggered me when the panel touched on issues on regulations. This is where I believe if we can all work together and using CILT as a platform for us to go to the government together and thrash out whatever issues that that will be. Because while I'm opening this up, why I'm offering this is because we are doing the same thing for transportation of dangerous goods by road. So we are together with the Freight Forwarders Malaysia Association of Motor Vehicle Industries, we, the haulage industry rather, we are now talking to the government so that we want the issues on dangerous goods to be regulated following what has been put up in Europe. So on the same basis, if all of us, the last mile logistics service providers can work together and using CILT as a platform, why not? I think I leave it to you all. I'm open for any deliberations after this. Yeah. So in wrapping up, my take on the subject on our part of the world is that the key forward in asset and shipment tracking. I mean, the key forward lies in this asset and shipment tracking in order to be able to handle the increased level of services and frequency found in last mile delivery as e-commerce grow. This improves visibility from end to end and reduces risk. We would also like to see data science in support of last mile logistics, since connectivity and visibility are critical for digitization of the supply chain operations. As supply chain becomes more complex and difficult to model due to inherent uncertainty and unpredictability of last mile logistics, data science, I believe, can help by modeling more accurate, cost-effective solutions. Nonetheless, while waiting for these to mature, I start wondering of the day when autonomous vehicles, drones, and robotic delivery can be up at my doorstep. That perhaps would be the ultimate to last mile delivery options in maintaining a high reliability. Before I end up, I would like to quote the economist John Maynard Keynes in 1914, when he said, and while sipping his morning tea in bed, I quote, "The inhabitant of London could order by telephone the various products of the whole earth in such a quantity as he might see fit and reasonably expect their early delivery on his doorstep. That was more than 100 years ago. Such a foresight, such an inspiration for all of us. With that, ladies and gentlemen, I thank you for your precious time with CILT Malaysia. And be around and join our next generation team in the coming webinar. Thank you very much. Have a very fruitful day. Wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera and have a good day. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Tuan Haji Ramli. I forgot to make an announcement before I hand over the majlis to Faiz. There is going to be another webinar on the 22nd of December at 10 a.m. It's called CILT Malaysia, Malaysia's preparedness, which we just now mentioned a bit about the vaccine. That should be interesting, yeah? What do you call, how do I say this? Well, the various announcements will be made soon. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, again, before I hand over to Saudara Faiz, I'd just like to say thank you again. I've enjoyed this very much this morning. Thank you, Brother Zamri, Bro Brian, and Bro Ebi for the really exciting, interesting, real scenarios. Thank you, Dr. Razak, for your opening remark. And thank you, Tuan Haji Ramli, for the closing remark. I'd like to pohon maaf. I'd like to seek apologies. And please bear with me. All the good things that has happened, it comes from His Almighty. But all the not so nice or any inappropriateness, or if I said something that might offend people, I again menyusun jari 10, mohon ampun dan maaf. It comes from me, and I take full responsibility. Wabillahi taufiq warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. And over to you, bro. Next generation, Faiz Hakim. Hey, before I forget, also for the great work, I need to mention this, for the great done by Chairman of Next Generation, Dato' Professor Mujahid, my very close friend. I'm as close to him as I'm close to Dato' Razak Malik, yeah, International President. Over to you, Faiz. Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam. Thank you, Prof. K. Okay, let's give me your best smile. Turn on all your videos. I want to take a screenshot for this. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Another one. 1, 2, 3. Okay, we've got all your photos. We will share with you later, and also in all our social media. And last but not least, I would like to invite Grab, Aramex, and Altus to join us as our corporate member. Yeah, join us as become our corporate member. So immediately you're going to become international business forum member for the whole of CILT International worldwide. And personally to Brian, Abby, and Zamri, join us as a chartered member as well. We need you guys to be in our team. A lot of things you can contribute, and a lot of things we can do for your cause too. Yeah. So with that, thank you very much, and assalamualaikum.
Thank you. Waalaikumsalam.
Thank you, everyone. See you. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much, guys. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Attendee.
See you again.